you say spyware, I mean, is there actually somebody or something spying on your personal?
Sure, they're collecting information on the websites you go to, your browsing habits, and then they take, the advertisers pay a lot of money for demographic information, advertising companies. And all of that information they harvested from your computer, they turn around and sell to advertisers on Madison Avenue. And that way they can say, okay, here's a male, this and this age group, these are the types of sites he goes to. And these are the things that attract him to the site, whether it's...
And then what do they do with that information?
That's how they target you for advertising. Just like the supermarket, they give you those Price Plus cards.
Yeah.
That's the same thing. They know every item that you bought in the store.
That's scary.
Over the whole, your course of shopping there. And then they could target you with advertising, because now you get the printed out receipts in addition to it. You'll see those receipts are items that you don't buy. They're trying to make you change your buying habits with those receipts. And they track all of that information. If you buy, instead of Ronzoni, Bertoli, guess what? They see that their advertising worked.
Works. Wow. Now, the spyware, are they different, types, more effective, less effective?
There are some that are, more malicious than others. There are some that are out there that'll collect Social Security numbers, credit card numbers, and that kind of even keystrokes. You log into your bank account through online banking. If you're infected, you could have something that's actually tracking what your account number or at least your login name and password is. And there have been quite a few instances of that, and you hear in the news.
You said identity theft.
Sure.
That comes. How do you? What's the best way to protect yourself?
There's a number of things. Firewall, have a decent firewall in place.
Okay.
An antivirus, an anti-spyware program. Keep it up to date. It costs you about $30 to $40 a year to maintain. Those are just a start, And then the other thing that I recommend to a lot of people, most people that I deal with, is, in your car, you change your oil every 2,000 miles. When's the last time you had your computer tuned up or had somebody just come, clean out all of the garbage, and just make sure you're not infected? Because a lot of the time you may not know you're infected.
So that brings us to viruses also, because those, it seems like...
Well, viruses aren't so much of a threat anymore nowadays.
Why is that?
The guys that generally wrote the viruses were pranksters. You're typing a letter and letters start falling off the screen. And what happened is they realized that, all right, that's nice for fun and games, but they're not benefiting from it. But now what they did is they switched over to spyware. And they find that with the spyware, the advertisers are paying them to do this. The marketers are paying them to put up the pop-ups all over your screen so that way you can't use your computer. And they're finding that that's more lucrative than just, a hoax.
So when you get a call, let's say to go to somebody's house, is it generally because the computer is too slow, it's filled with all this garbage? Is that generally the problem?
That's usually the main symptom that people start to say, I wonder what's going on with my computer. And,
Because that's something that I'm seeing all the time. It's just the computer is just taking longer and longer to get from point A to point B.
But that's the other issue is, one of the important things to do is to keep your system up to date with Windows updates and patching, and that generally is going to, over time, slow down your machine. So you can have a machine that, out of the box was quick, and now with all the updates becomes fairly slow. Maybe it's using more memory, more processing power.
So when I get that little message that says there are updates, updates, click now, and by not clicking on that, because I don't have the time, I'm actually slowing down my computer.
Well, what happens is these hackers, the guys that make it all in spyware and malware, they find holes in Windows, and they exploit them. And what happens is every week Microsoft, I think it's on a Tuesday or Wednesday, I think it's Tuesday.
Yeah, I think it's Tuesday.
Puts out a whole report. Here are the new vulnerabilities we had. We patched them.
Really?
Here are all the updates.
And where do you see that report?
You go on Microsoft's website.
That's it?
Yeah. And these hackers also have access to that information. So guess what? If you don't apply those patches, they're taking advantage of those computers that weren't patched.
There's also an organization called CERT, that maintains a list of vulnerabilities.
How do you spell that?
CERT, CERT.org, I believe. And they maintain a list of vulnerabilities on numerous software. I guess pretty much anything you can think of. They have a list of vulnerabilities that are discovered. And, so it's not just Microsoft that's actually releasing this information. It's, the whole industry knows about the holes when they come out. And sometimes CERT will come up with them, or a hacker will come out with this and post it to CERT and make it known.
There's another thing. We were talking about the antiviruses. They're all good. They're all pretty decent. The only thing is they always play catch up. In other words, how are you going to protect against something that we don't know is out yet?
Right.
So somebody has to first get infected. It has to get out there enough for them to even to show up on the radar to address it.
Right.
So that's the other thing. A lot of people say, "Well, I got the latest stuff. I got this. I got that, and I still got infected."
Something new.
It's something new, just like the flu virus.